Hello everyone. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. The video that you are about to watch and or listen to has been edited from its original version strictly for YouTube. If you're interested in listening to that original version, please head on over to an audio platform such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts and enjoy the 100% unedited version there. If you choose to proceed with the YouTube version, you will notice that some of the musical choices have been changed. However, the interview and all the other good content that you're here for has remained exactly the same. If you prefer one versus the other, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much, and this is The Cup.
He's back.
I'm back.
You are now listening to Conor's Untitled podcast. Welcome to the Cup.
He's back. He's back. I'm back.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for tuning in today. In case you're not familiar, my name is Conor, and what you are currently listening to is my podcast, the most uncreatively named podcast out there, Conor's Untitled podcast, aka The Cup. Thank you so much for tuning in after my near 3-year hiatus, 2 to 3 year hiatus. So I'm really glad to be back here doing this. Finally got some motivation to get back into it and to get things going. So thank you so much for checking out the Pilot 2.0 episode. So what I'm going to do here in this first segment, just a couple of minutes, kind of give you a quick, get you caught up with what have been going on in my world, and then we'll tell you about what's here coming in the future. So last time I talked to you folks, I think was in the middle of the 2019 NFL season. I believe the last episode I put out was a Buffalo Bills mid-season review and a preview of their upcoming game at that time, which was the Cleveland Browns. Unfortunately, I think they lost that game. But again, this was a couple of years ago, and it's kind of hard to remember. But anyway, that was the last episode that I put out. The last episode that I was working on was also an NFL episode, where I was going to go kind of division by division and take a look at the different teams. And now that I'm saying this, I'm re-jogging my memory and saying that I did the AFC West episode, and then that was my last episode. So I was actually working on the NFC West. I was going to go West Coast, South, North, and then finish off with the East, because that's where the Bills are, is the AFC East. So that was a segment that I was going to kind of do, and maybe I'll do it after this football season or before. But either way, it's been a while. I used to live in Virginia. Now I'm back up here living in upstate Western New York, where I was born and raised. Moved up here to be with the woman that I love, and things are going swimmingly. Thank you so much for asking, because I know you care so much. With the Cup, again, this is just going to be a casual thing that I do on my own time. I don't plan on making any money off of this. However, if things go well and starts to get noticed and, you know, ad revenues need to start making their way in, we'll discuss that. But for now, any of the music, any of the content that you hear from other people, whether it's the advertisements that I put out, I have a cool segment that I'm going to be starting called ARF, A-R-F-F. I'll fill you in on that in a later episode. But any of those things, music, advertisements, products, names and likenesses, not owned by me. This is strictly for entertainment purposes. There is no monetary exchange to go back and forth. So as far as artists go, I will definitely be crediting your work, name, album, song title, all that stuff. If you have something that you want featured, just let me know. The biggest thing that I'm really excited about moving forward on this podcast is I just got it set up in my apartment the other day. I have a, quote, studio, quote, now, which basically is I put all of my collectibles and shit on shelves behind me. I set up my desk with my computer and my recording equipment. I have a little tiny folding double camp chair with a microphone set up to it, so now I can have guests. And that was one thing I always wanted to do, and I wasn't sure how I would facilitate it because I'm still green at this. This is very new to me, and we're all going to be learning as we go along through this process. So thank you for tuning in to the first episode. Thank you for sticking with me moving forward. I definitely plan to be a little bit more serious about this. I'm not going to put out a content schedule saying I'm going to release everything at Monday at 6 a.m. and then Wednesday at 7 p.m. And I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to record shit and release it when I want to. And the biggest thing, like I said, that I'm excited for is I have people coming, like today's episode, which you will see a little later on after this intro and our short music break. But I have a gentleman who is one of my deepest, dearest, and oldest friends stopping by to talk about his career, his projects, and things like that. So be sure to stick around for that. Other things I'm going to be doing, like I mentioned before, NFL is a big part of my life. It's something that I look forward to every year, September through January, as far as like regular season goes, and then the playoffs led into the Super Bowl in February. Weather gets colder, clothes get warmer, Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving. It's just a better time of year, in my opinion. I love the summer. I have a great time out in the sun and swimming and all that stuff. Nothing compares to football season for me. So I'm a big degenerate football fan, huge member of the Bills Mafia, Buffalo Bills, red, white, and blue until I die. So these are going to be topics that I'm going to bring up, either just Bills recaps for the games of the week, upcoming stuff during the offseason, what I'm excited for, predictions, and then I have other friends that I'll bring in. Some are Bills fans, some are fans of other teams, and we'll pick their brains and see how they're thinking about the season upcoming, in the midst of the season, and how it ends. So football will definitely be a big thing. I do like the NBA a lot too, so we will be talking about the NBA every so often. The finals are going on right now, really pulling for Chris Paul and the Suns. I don't know when this episode is going to drop, so hopefully by the time it drops, Chris Paul already has a ring and has cemented his Hall of Fame career. If not, if Giannis and the Bucks win, that's cool too. My favorite thing about the finals this year is that nobody on either team has won a ring. There's one person with finals experience in Jay Crowder. Nobody else has been to the finals. Nobody else has won a ring. So it's a very exciting time for the NBA, in my opinion. So we'll touch on things like that, but obviously with the season being almost over, it may have to go on the back burner. And then the other thing, which kind of is going to lead into my segment and main topic for today, is just interviews with various people that I find interesting. Today's guest is a musical artist. I have quite a few friends who are in the music scene, whether they're in one genre or the other. So I'm definitely going to be picking their brains, seeing how things work inside their creative processes, get some history on them, what's coming up, what's all that good stuff that you want to know about. So Conor's Untitled Podcast 2.0. We're not going to call it that officially, but for this episode, it is Cup 2.0. Has all of these cool things that are coming. I actually have notes written out. I want to make this semi-professional, and eventually I'll be implementing a video aspect. If you could see my studio right now, I am very happy with it. I spent almost all day yesterday rearranging my living room and putting all my stuff on shelves, so I'm a big old nerd. I would like to show that off, and I think it's kind of cool for a backdrop. But either way, a visual aspect is definitely helpful in this modern day of digital content. So I will see about getting some cameras and getting some stuff set up and, making this a better platform for you. So what I'm going to do to get the ball rolling and move us into the next segment is go ahead and show you a song by our upcoming guest. Now, this is a song that I've used in a previous episode during my first run of the Cup. So if you were a listener back then, you may have heard that. If not, then you're about to hear it now. And again, great song by a tremendous local artist. This is Blue by Michael Rich.
Blue sky where I do fly. Blue sky where I do fly. Like, come and get it. Only here for a good time. Learn to separate your mind from the negatives. It'll only weigh you down till it all gives. Hanging on by a string, how I keep lifted, how I maintain shit. Sitting on the tip of the iceberg, cutting close. No closure, it's getting colder every day in this place. Pulling cars just to get an ace. I'm all in, motherfuckers, hands down. Blue sky where I do fly. Never have I seen a limit, say 2 times. Never have I seen a limit like painted over speed signs. So official, need a suit and tie, drinking fine wine. Say I reach too high, reply with silence. Compliance cannot be met if you talking shit in private. Searching for reactions and you must have been misguided. I'm higher than I ever been, coming down to recommend. Let's change up the flow a bit and go with it. Come focus in, fuck broken hearts, I shatter shit. Underground, upstate, and we pass legit. Could give a fuck about the average. A lifespan, I increase that. In the present, like I'm holding on to Christmas gifts. I'm kinda rigid on the surface like lace chips, but I don't work around that, so I kick it like this. Once an adolescent teen, getting strike threes. Home run against me, now's a pipe dream. Never seen it coming till I hit the high beam. Steady right around, getting lazy, hit the lake house, not me. My mind in the gutter, the rain dripping off, and sometimes I don't know what to do. These circumstances can't understand, I'm all unexpected and unbalanced, but that's life, so I'm living by the moment, still I lose myself. Thinking about the future as it brightens in distant 12. Is it in my head turning into reality, or is it in my head stuck in confinement, wrapped up in solitary? Pedal to the metal with the etiquette, begin to turn to a specialist. Just turned 21, now I drink less, kind of ironic. I got a mind like I'm 86, only trees, no cancer sticks. Tell my mom she gotta stop sharing with the shit. Put it down, what the problem is. No nicotine fiend, but I kick these beats until I'm on a crescent beach with some THC. Stake out, still I make moves. Lake house for the broad view. Curtain spread like Broadway. Encore saying come again, stay a while, cause you think we might relate. So I stay feed up, kicking back with the sorbet. Gotta get it, this can never be a cold case. So ill, now I stay a patient. No call, no show. Every day a sick day like peace.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Like I mentioned in the intro, I have a guest with me today. I'm very excited. This is a first-time thing for me, first-time thing for him. Gentleman by the name of Mike Siegel, a.k.a. you may know him as Michael Rich. He's been doing this hip-hop thing for quite some time, and we're going to get to know him. So, Mike, how the hell are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, buddy?
I'm great, man.
It's good to see you, man.
It's great to see you, too. Thank you so much for coming to do this. Like we were talking about earlier, this is a first for both of us, so we're both going to learn from this and get better.
Let's do it.
So basically, I want to let the listeners know, essentially, go back in time, how you and I met before this whole music thing began.
Absolutely.
And then how that came on board. So I don't know if you remember, but the first time I actually, and you might know it beforehand, first time I actually met you was back in the 4th grade.
Okay.
And it was just in passing. It was just real quick. We had classrooms down the hallway from each other. And you were a rambunctious kid. I was a rambunctious kid.
Yeah, I was a little nuts.
I think we were just loud and kind of just like connected on a wavelength. And you're like, "Hey, I'm Mike," and I'm like, "Hey, I'm Conor," and that was it. That's all I remember. That's all I remember.
Now let's go to 6th grade home careers class.
Perfect.
Was
I was
that
gonna
it?
say, that's exactly when
Perfect.
we met for the first time and actually like started knowing each other and becoming friends.
Yep.
Trevor was that big link, our mutual.
Oh,
friend,
for sure.
Trevor.
Then I'll end up sitting at the same table.
Did you end up going to that birthday of his?
Trevor's birthday?
Trevor's birthday, where we had like the wrestling match in his living room.
No.
Oh,
I
dude,
didn't.
it was crazy. So we were all like into wrestling, and Trevor and I grabbed 2 Diet Dr. Peppers that were in his fridge each, and we did the Stone Cold in his living room. Shot soda everywhere.
Had a full-on ring in his living room?
Oh yeah, we laid down all
nice.
the pillows and couch cushions and everything, and like there was like 10 of us. I thought you were there, but I remember I got him the John Cena rap album, and I thought that was pretty stupid.
You Can't See Me?
Yes,
Oh.
I think that was it. Yeah, John Cena's theme.
Oh, it's
exactly.
the best, dude.
But yeah, so so then we had sat at the same table. We had lunch together.
Yep.
And then 9th grade, I think, is when we had study hall, and that's when we actually started becoming like real good friends.
Yeah.
Because at the end of 9th grade is when you, to my knowledge, started your music career, and that's essentially where this whole interview thing starts. Is obviously right now you're going by Michael Rich. You're killing the hip hop game in my opinion, but we'll get to that later on. Before that, you had Taken to Heart. Your hardcore project. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we'll get into that. And then beforehand, it was A Dreadful Awakening, which to my knowledge is where your music career started. But if I'm incorrect, where did your music career start?
No, you're 100% right there. Yeah, it started when I started listening to a lot of hardcore, metalcore type music back in like middle of 8th grade, end of 8th grade. Then I went into 9th grade, And I was like, you know what? Let's give this a shot. So I remember just sitting there. I was sitting there when my mom would be going to the library getting books, and I'd be listening to, like, As I Lay Dying, you know, August Burns Red, doing vocals, being like, wow, I could actually do this. And yeah.
So exactly. So, and I remember, again, I think this was like late freshman year, you had sent me a video over MySpace that you had put on YouTube of you doing a vocal cover for Asking Alexandria. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that certain one, but wow, that's hilarious.
Yeah, dude, I looked it up.
Did a bunch of those, though.
I spent about like 10 to 15 minutes on YouTube the other night trying to look it up. You must have deleted it or
for
something.
sure. Yeah.
But, that was when you first showed me that you could actually do those vocals, and I'm still amazed by that. There's obviously, you know, people out there that do it for a living and have done it for a very long time, but for you to just pick it up like that, I thought was very impressive, and you were very good at that. And I'm not just saying that, you were actually like, you had people that were established, at least in our local music scene, that came up to you and they're like, you're good at this. So did you spend a lot of time on that, or is that something that you just kind of picked up naturally and you're like, I'm the fucking man?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I realized I could do it because I definitely had that, you know, feeling that I was just like, hey, if I keep practicing at this, I'll get even better. So I started practicing in my garage with a PV, a little tiny PV amp with just too much distortion on. I swear I probably tortured my parents in the garage doing vocals every night, but that's what I started on. And yeah, that's how it went.
So first practices were with too much distortion. First show comes about, A Dreadful Awakening, with our buddies Adam, our buddies Seth, and at the time our buddy Matt. Too much auto-tune.
Too much auto-tune. Like, I'd be trying to be like, hey, like, you know, we're A Dreadful Awakening, because that was our name at the time. And every time I talked, it sounded like it was the worst auto-tune you've ever heard. And everyone was just looking like, is this a joke? Is it a T-Pain song?
It was crazy. And we have Sage to blame for that 100%.
Oh, he knows it too. He loves it. He thinks it's so funny when I bring it up.
He still talks about it. I love it. So
it's wonderful.
We'll talk to him eventually.
Oh, he's the man.
But yeah, so when you guys started the band, this is obviously before I had joined in. I think you did like 3 or 4 shows with Matt, and
right.
I was at most of them, if I recall. What was the process in that? Like, when you guys came together, did you have like mutual influences? I think it was between you and Seth that had started.
Yeah.
And then you found Adam later on.
Right.
Did you guys just kind of sit down and start it out, or did you like listen to music and you're like, we should try to be more like this band, or we should be like this band?
Honestly, we kind of all just like kind of listened to the same music, and it just kind of started when, you know, Seth and I would just hang out. He didn't want to be in a hardcore band at first because he loved the music, but he didn't want to go that route because he was in band in high school and stuff like that. But honestly, I think it was just we just kind of started jamming one day after we had each other over, and it was just kind of like, oh, this sounds sick. Let's just roll with it.
It's so weird to hear that now, knowing Seth all these years and hearing you say, yeah, he didn't want to be in a hardcore band. He didn't want to be in a metal band.
At first, but it was just like, dude, you're so good. Let's do this.
Because I remember, and I always joke with him about this, that, like, you know, before then I used to call him Bowl Cut Seth, because he was...
that a boy.
And I loved it, but it was like he once he got the band, he changed his music sense. And he just became he was already a good drummer, but he became a much better drummer.
Yep.
So that was definitely the backbone behind everything. And then obviously 3-4 shows go in. Some creative differences with Matt. You guys part ways. I end up stepping in, which was really random because I think you brought me on to play guitar at first.
Yeah, we did.
And I could barely play a fucking guitar in my life, but I was essentially playing guitar like a bass. Swap one thing out.
Right.
One thing leads to another. So that was interesting. I think we did that for about 2 to 3 years or so.
You shred though. You started to shred.
Man, I couldn't play any of that shit now if you ask me, but it was a good time. we did a lot of fun shit. So yeah, back then obviously you were known as Mike Siegel. But it was towards the end of our high school career, and you guys started getting more into the rap and hip hop scene, that you being you and Adam. And we all kind of did. I mean, I expanded my music listenings into more rap and hip hop type things, mostly because of you guys, and going to parties and shit. So the band kind of died off, unfortunately, and we still kind of look back on it like, you know, I mean, I was stoked. I did it. I still
me too, so much.
I still have the 3 main songs that we recorded. I wish we could find that old EP. So if Jordan or Joe, you know who you are, if you're listening to this, I want my songs. But anyway.
10 years later, we need our songs.
10, 11 years later.
We know where you sleep, dude.
But those videos are still on YouTube, so.
Yeah, they are.
So you can look up A Dreadful Awakening studio videos on YouTube. Just remember, we were in high school. But anyway, so that whole thing ended. We do our Taken to Heart thing. And despite Jordan being in and out, it was mostly the 4 of us throughout, which I still really appreciate. Do you take anything from that, moving from the metal scene and making hardcore music to the rap and hip-hop scene? Did you learn anything, essentially?
Absolutely. So pretty much after we kind of fell off from Taken to Heart, because I was still kind of I started doing the hip-hop, and I started, like, you know, writing lyrics to, like, hip-hop songs during the Taken to Heart, and then
Is that where Brick Squad came in? Because that was pretty much, so Brick Squad was like the last song that we pretty much wrote. The last song that we recorded. I think the last song we wrote was Ambitions.
Yeah, it was Ambitions.
It was the more melodic one.
Yeah,
love that song. But Brick
Squad.
Squad.
Still a Water Street video of that.
Is that up there still?
It's up there. It's got to be.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah.
But Brick Squad was just fucking hard. I love that song. Obviously,
it was just thrashy, just hardcore purely. It was awesome. It was so fun to play live.
Yeah, and obviously the name comes from Waka Flocka, so I mean, so I guess that does kind of answer my question that there was a good crossover. So Simmons and you, obviously, you go ahead and do the whole hip hop thing, and you both have very different styles. I've noticed, like, you collab very well together, but I think that it has to do with your clashing styles. Like, now you both have a very wide variety of genre, which I can appreciate. That doesn't show that you're just a one-trick pony and you just, you know, branch out and suck at something.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like collabing with Adam makes you a better artist? And obviously, once I get around to talking to him, I'll get his input on things. But you know, do you really think that he makes you better? Do you guys see it as kind of like friendly competition, or is it just sort of like, that's my brother, I'm gonna fucking have his back regardless?
No, honestly, it was just it's so fun recording with him, just because, like, especially when him and I, because it always comes out so perfect. Because we used to do this thing every time where we'd like, okay, you go write a verse and I'll go write a verse. Like, let's just have some. We'll come together at the end of the week and, like, you know, see what we came up with. But when we sit down and write songs together, it's just like, it works out perfectly. We just feed off each other back and forth. Like, we went out to LA. We sat down in the hotel and we recorded or wrote both those songs just sitting there in the hotel, like 4 hours before we were going to do our studio session in Hollywood. And that's just the best way to do it. But honestly, friendly competition, not even, dude. Just writing music with, like, one of my best friends is just, like, it's wonderful recording it, just watching it happen. Like, Hello, that got like 4,000 views in a week. You know, was just doing really well, man. And that was just another thing. We recorded that at Black Dog Studios in Rochester. Shout out Rob and Sage for setting that up for us. But yeah, we had like an hour studio session and we knocked it out that fast, and it was just great.
And that's one of the things that amazes me the most about you guys and your writing process. And we'll get to that. We'll get to Sage and all that here in a bit. But I'm really glad that you brought up Hello, because we are definitely getting into a portion where I could use a break, and I definitely want to feature something. So Hello is your most recent song with both you and Adam, who goes by Damian Simmons, which, in my opinion, and I'm not just saying this as your friend, but I think it is probably the most most fun song that I've heard from you guys. Like, I just listened to it. It's a good time. And you can kind of tell that from the music video which you shot, which, like you said, you recorded the song in Rochester and you banged it out within an hour, which is just mind-blowing to me. But then you obviously take some time, you fly on out to California, see some friends out there, and end up shooting a video. What was that like? Did you have anything in mind, or were you just like kind of putzing around LA and you're like, that looks fucking cool, let's shoot there?
Honestly, you kind of hit the nail on the cuff right there, because pretty much like it was kind of like we went out there, we met up with our buddy Rex Winland and our buddy Chief, who lives in West Hollywood at the time, or probably still are right now, actually. And so we did all that. We went out there, picked up Rex. We shot some scenes in Malibu, just places that looked really cool. Place called Sunken City, which it looks like there's a big landslide there. Took out like a bunch of area there, and then just places, beaches, just kind of just rolling down Hollywood Boulevard, just out the window of this Tesla that we rented for Simmons' birthday.
Oh yeah.
And it was just a great time, and that's pretty much all it was.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, like I said, we're gonna show that song to these people here. We're gonna take a quick couple minute break. We'll come back here shortly, talk about a few more things, and without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is Hello.
Yeah, up in the party, I pull up with shorty, riding like Harley Davidson. In my stance, better watch your hands, better not touch my Jameson. Dior the denim and Virgil the shirt, I do not need no tailoring. Hey, chopping it up like Ableton, plugged in like where they put the cable in. Hey, walking that bitch, say hello, fade away 3 like Carmelo. Hey, little Betty wanna shake it like Jello. Hey, blue hunters and they wrapped in yellow. Hey, getting them C notes, hey, no falsetto. Hey, taking this whiskey down with Modelo, need my own show like an OJ Leno. Oh my, look mine, she moved it like a dancer. Hey, walking in like she owned the place, girl, where your manners? Hey, ask me whatever you want and I swear that I'll give you an answer. Hey, rub bands, my hand feel like I'm David Banner. Oh my, look mine, she moved it like a dancer. Hey, walking in like she owned the place, girl, where your manners? Hey, ask me whatever you want and I swear that I'll give you an answer. Hey, rubber bands, my hand feel like I'm David Banner. Hey, lost to see like Castaway, I'm golfing with my Callaway. Through New York, I navigated Chicago on Saturday. Now we in Denver and I'm posted up like some art in the gallery. Now that you done it, just like I'll run it like I'm burning calories. Messing around with Ashley, I'm skidding, I'm coolin' with Valerie. Charge up under my battery, I'm smoked out like I'm in a factory. Yeah, call my Motorola, I'm shopping at Dover. Hey, she know my trouble after a couple mimosas. Oh my, look mine, she moved it like a dancer. Hey, walking in like she owned the place, girl, where your manners? Hey, ask me whatever you want and I swear that I'll give you an answer. Hey, rub bands, my hand feel like I'm David Banner. Oh my, look mine, she moved it like a dancer. Hey, walking in like she owned the place, girl, where your manners? Hey, ask me whatever you want and I swear that I'll give you an answer. Hey, rubber bands, my hand feel like I'm David Banner.
Who's the one calling the shots? I'm thinking out of the box. Whether you're ready or not, see me go thick in the plot. Give it some flavor. I just recorded a banger. Not looking out for no majors, no. Independent fucking hater. This that on the road. See you later. Look, protect what I love like a veteran. I just stay getting ahead of it. Out of my element, just for the hell of it. This for the benefit. I don't need no one to tell me how to live. I just do it for the thrill. Now going in for the kill. Say I won't do what I will. Climbing right over the hill. Like how do you feel? Mentally I've been exhausted. Searching for love, but that shit got me nauseous. Turning and tossing. Tell by the way that you move. You fancy and flawless. All I know is I won't sit around. Double back and I will not allow. Everybody talk that shit when it comes down to it. I swear y'all fake with the sound. Fuck it, I'm loving to make a assumption. Can't be too limited, I need to function. Might just be rolling with all of the punches, but I'm fighting back. Keep it original, what's the commotion? Holding it down, need to live in the moment. Enough of that hope and get in emotion. Go and get focused.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Once again, that was Hello by Damian Simmons and today's featured guest, Mr. Michael Rich. Mike, you and Adam have done quite a few songs together, even going back to before your names were Michael Rich and Damian Simmons. Would you say Hello is your favorite one you've done so far? Do you have a particular one that sticks out to you? Or if it's not even Adam, and, I won't tell him, do you have a song that you've done with someone else that's your favorite?
Well, I'm going to start off by saying I really love this sombrero that you gave me.
Hey, man, it looks great on you.
Thank you so much.
I don't think it's technically a sombrero because it's not bedazzled and bejeweled.
Well, it's kind of cool because it's a mix between, like, Tom Sawyer painting a fence and, like, a Mexican dude with some maracas.
Hey, whatever vibe you're feeling, that shirt, it totally goes with it.
And it makes me feel good because tacos are my favorite. Anyway, wow. Honestly, no, Hello's our favorite song, or at least my favorite song. I can't speak for Adam, that him and I have ever done together.
Nope, you've said it. It's both your favorites.
Okay, perfect. All right, then awesome.
Fuck you, Adam.
And no, it's just been great because both of our styles that like clash together, like you were saying, and it just got some of my style, a lot of his style, like banger, but they got the flow to it, so it was just a fun song.
Sweet, cool. So recently, before Adam, moved back down to Florida. You guys performed a show. I'll be honest, I can't even remember the name of the venue because all I know is that it used to be Dublin Underground.
Masons
in
Rochester.
There you go.
Alexander.
Yeah, it's on Alexander Street in Rochester, New York. Used to be Dublin Underground. It is now Masons. And that was a show that was put on as a, quote, private show, but it was pretty well filled with a good amount of people.
Yes,
and,
it was.
The gentleman who put it on is a man named Sage, who also goes by Wizard King, who is a very...
He's burping right now, guys.
I'm trying to burp.
He's drinking Coca-Cola. Tell him to stop.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea. I'm burping off of the microphone right now. But anyway, gentleman by the name of Sage, who goes by Wizard King, who's a very interesting guy who I can't wait to have a conversation with, put this show on like he always does, featuring himself, featuring Adam, a.k.a. Damian Simmons, and featuring Michael Rich, and a myriad of other guests. Our buddy Rosh Dog was on there, and a whole bunch of other people. How did it feel to be back doing live music again?
It was so amazing. Like, it's just been so long since I've done a show and he's done a show, and it was perfect because, he came back. Simmons came back from Tampa just to do it, and it was supposed to be just put on for a private album release and a private show with Rosh, Wizard King, and Damian Simmons himself. And we went in there, and it started out really chill. We're like, this will be fun. This will be a lot of fun. And then by the time that Simmons and I went on, it was just packed out, and like everyone was just having such a good time. We were just jumping, just yelling. It was just people having fun. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it was an open bar, which was kind of insane. Yeah,
that was something that I was not expecting.
I was not expecting. That was a lot.
I figured awesome. that was just awesome. That was definitely a reason that I went, but not the only reason. And yeah, like you mentioned, it was an album release or a song release show for No Mercy, which was a collab between Wizard King, Rosh, and Damian, as you mentioned. But there were other people on there that I have never heard of. And I'm terrible because their names are escaping me, but they had their own followings too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's not like this was just
absolutely.
This is not like it was just Sage getting his buddies to get their buddies and come to a show. It was getting other people that, I don't know their relationship with Sage, maybe as just artist to promoter or artist to artist, but these people had their own following, and he did it very smart. And I think it did well, and I hope that, this is a sign of things to come.
Yeah, no, 100%. It was really cool seeing. I got to meet Double Music, which is
the other one.
Which is one of Sage's friends from Italy. Actually, he, I believe, if I'm mistaken, I'm very sorry, Double Music. But
he seems cool.
I
came in
really
right
cool
as he
dude.
was going on, and he was awesome.
Yeah, he's cool. Also Blossom Reynolds from Cleveland. He's got his own sound. It's so cool. So cool to see what he did as well, and just everybody that put on. I don't remember the rest of the names because there was a decent amount of people on that bill.
Yeah, it was like 12 different acts, or something. It was crazy.
It was kind of wild, but I mean, everyone was so great. Brought their own energy. Everyone had different styles. It was just a lot of fun to get people in there because that's all it was. It's fun people to come have fun, it just dragged a lot of people in because everyone's been cooped up because of COVID. So now we're back. We're back.
Favorite show ever, or favorite show in recent memory?
Oh, best show ever. Definitely was the one in Philadelphia in 2016, which you attended. We played with Ski Master Slump God, Rob Banks,
Bill Saber.
Bill Saber out of Buffalo.
That was the first time I saw that dude.
And Ronnie J. Ronnie J was there, guys. It was awesome.
That was a hell of a show. Yeah, that was the first time I saw Bill Saber, and he's interesting.
He's very interesting. I've never met him personally. Maybe in quick passing at that show, but no, the Mason show was fun. It was definitely up there with our favorites because, wow, that was just a grand old time.
So that was obviously your first show back since COVID and everything shut down. What was your last show before then? Do you happen to remember?
Oh, man. I think it was California Brew House in 2018 with... Wow.
That was the Forbidden release.
Yes. And, actually, that was it, wasn't it?
I think so.
And then prior to that, or it might have been after, we played with Germ, Shakewell, and Ramirez, out of California.
I remember that.
Yep.
I don't think I was at that one, but I was at the Forbidden one.
That was a pretty fun show.
So So obviously earlier we talked about now you're doing hip hop. Beforehand you were doing hardcore. Do you have a preference, one versus the other? Do you think that you've kind of aged out of the hardcore scene? I don't see you getting in the pit nowadays.
No, I probably won't be getting in the pit. It depends on if I like the breakdown or not. You never know. I could come out of retirement
if it's gnarly enough
and pull a tendon. But honestly, it's just there's a lot more freedom over the actual writing process with hip hop as opposed to hardcore. But no, I can never say I'll ever grow out of hardcore. I still listen to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Every day. But I mean, I get nostalgic sometimes and would love to do a side project.
Look, man, I just got the whole podcast thing set up. I got to get the band thing set up next.
He's taking a hiatus after this one.
Give me a minute. I will. I'm interested. I got my guitar. I need to put strings on.
Yeah, we'll see. Exactly.
But yeah, man, I mean, if that ever comes to fruition and this is semi-breaking news, then what's up, y'all? We're in a band. If not, then I'm drunk. Yeah, whatever.
Semi-joking, not
semi-joking. So anyway, going back to your hip-hop career, because that's where we're at. Nameless, which is a song that we will hear a little later on, to kind of close things out. That is your most recent single in a slew of a bunch of singles, at least, that I've seen you release recently. Best Words was one. Finally Breathing is another. Do you think you're going to be releasing singles from here on out, or are they all part of something that you kind of have in the works right now?
Honestly, they're all just kind of singles, all by the same producer for the most part. And project-wise, I don't really think I'm going to be doing a full-on project or a full-on album, maybe a little EPs here and there, but releasing singles are just the way to go because, I don't feel like I'm at a magnitude right now to be releasing full-song albums and putting all that, money and everything into it.
Right.
So, and plus you can focus more on the singles and stuff, but once I get more established, it's going to maybe try for an album, but I'm just kind of just doing it.
Absolutely.
Doing it, yeah.
And from my experience being in the two bands that I was, and I can totally agree with your statement earlier that the creative freedom, the writing freedom and everything that you have just being a solo artist is much easier and a lot less to get around than, working in a group of people, because aside from scheduling, you have creative differences and things like that. So I totally agree with that. As far as the singles versus collections, I can kind of understand that too, because when I was in the couple of bands that I was, we found it much easier to be like, here's a song or here's a music video or something like that, and we can promote just that one thing for 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever it is, as long as you need to. Here it is every other day. Whereas, with the project, obviously you can just say, hey, here's album A, and you can just promote album A every single day, but at least, maybe not with you, maybe you don't really do this, but a lot of artists will put songs in as just filler. It's just, this is something that I kind of thought of on a whim. I need to hit my 15-song limit, so here's just fucking something. So rather than promoting the whole thing, you want to pick out 5 or 6 songs that you're really, really proud of and say, hey, listen to this one, listen to that one, listen to this one, listen to that one, and then it kind of gets a little overwhelming. Do you agree?
No, I totally agree. Totally agree.
Gotcha. But anyway, I think that if you were, because of where your level is at, as like you mentioned, I think something like your recent project, or most recent collection project, Family Table, is probably something that, if you were to do something, would probably be next, correct? Like where it's about a 3 to 4 or 5 song collection.
You got it, yeah. So like little EPs, little projects, Family Table, man, but Family Table, that's an EP that's going to be special in my heart, because, dude, if I could match that again, which I definitely can, it was just that's a milestone in itself.
Dude, and go ahead, because if you want to talk about it, like I love Family Table. Like I still listen to it on a regular basis, even though it's 3 songs, and I think it's 3 of some of your most solid songs, and I feel like bands can do that. Like they'll put out, like off the top of my head randomly, Devil Wears Prada.
Right.
They put out 10 to 12 song albums every couple of years or so, and maybe there's a few on there, but the Zombie EP,
yeah, there was like 5
songs.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the new one yet, but it's 5 songs, and they're just all incredible. So like
they're amazing.
So like Family Table, it's 3 songs, but they all have similar theme to them, similar meaning.
Right.
They're very well constructed and put together. What was it like writing and putting together Family Table?
writing and putting together the EP in itself, especially the song "Just Remember" was the first song I wrote off that EP. Was I wrote that whole entire thing on the way home from California, and just in my car, because there's so many things going through your head at the time. When you make that move and then drive back by yourself, that first drive across the country by yourself, it's liberating, it's freaky, and you're just thinking like, you're happy you did it. You're also thinking, man, I failed. What could I do better next time? And I just have an overall appreciation for life in itself, so that's what brought that on. And I just started writing Family Table, just appreciation for my friends, my family, everything I get to do every day. Just wake up and just make music, go to work, just live life.
Absolutely. And again, like you can really get that vibe out of it. And then it kind of all culminates. Obviously, Cursive is in the middle, and that's kind of like Cursive is the one that a lot of people go to because it's kind of a banger.
It's the banger of the tape for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like you got to have one in there that's going to catch some passerbys, and it's again a well written song, great theme to it. But everything kind of culminates in the last one, which is Family Table, which obviously the
brings
song
it together.
Yeah, it's what the whole thing is about. Family Table is what it's about.
Yeah.
Or however the line goes. I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
There's a music video that goes along with it, which again is almost, if not more heartwarming than the song and the EP itself. What was it like getting, and I feel terrible that I wasn't there because I was living out of state at the time.
No, absolutely not, you're fine.
But what was it like getting to do the video and having everybody there? Like, did you feel like, regardless of the monetary status, regardless of if this blows me up or not, like, this is what it's about. I made it. This is it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I've never been one to care about the monetary value, realistically. Mostly just
me neither, because once again, this is not for monetary value. There's no fucking exchange of money between me or Michael Rich. He might buy me a beer later, but he doesn't know it yet. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm definitely buying a beer later. We're gonna continue this off the mics in a little bit too. But anyway, monetary value. I just don't really care too much about that. Like the fame, especially in my song Nameless, which we'll get to. I do everything mostly just out of the pure, love for just being happy, and honestly, just having everybody there. Just in the like pretending we're pizza in the pizza shop, just working every day, just working together, and just like having a great time. That's pretty much what the whole entire thing was all about. And I mean that image that's in the video and that you just described is kind of that like myth of the American dream, like your friends and family coming together, owning a business or doing something together and just thriving and having a good time. So that's what I really enjoy about Family Table. And like you said, if you can capture that essence again, I mean, people use the phrase lightning in a bottle, but I mean that is right now your tape, quote unquote, that sticks out. Tape, yep.
And until you get the motivation to do that again, find that essence, that mojo, whatever you want to call it, to do that again, singles are the way to go.
For sure. Yeah, that tape in itself, that EP, was just the perfect place at the perfect time.
Yep.
And it all came together.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Shout out Mark's Pizza.
That wasn't Mark's Pizza. Nice try, though. But yeah, Mark's Pizzeria, they'll definitely treat you like a family, but not like Family Table.
Not like Family Table. There we go. So you mentioned Nameless, and we're going to get to that here shortly to kind of wrap things up. But what's Michael Rich doing these days? I mean, you watching anything cool? You listening to anything cool? I know you're not much of a gamer like I am, but I mean, what's Michael Rich doing these days?
Yeah, so I started this terrible show. So we'll start off with this terrible show called Manifest.
Oh God,
have you heard of it?
I don't think so.
Oh man, it's about. I'm not even gonna get into it. Everybody, just don't even waste. I'm not gonna waste Conor's time.
Do not watch Manifest.
But watch Manifest. But you'll get hooked. It gets better, but it sucks at the same time. But what am I doing nowadays? Getting prepared to go back to school for a little bit. Just working on a couple more singles right now in the works, and as much as what I'm listening to, a lot of more underground type of music, like obviously still my hardcore as well, but. I've been listening to a lot of Marlon Craft out of Hell's Kitchen, New York. Great artist. Super crazy lyricist. Super good to listen to. Coda the Friend, obviously. Travis Thompson's going to drop a new album here soon, so I've been listening to some of his old stuff. And, yeah, just overall just a bunch of different things.
Cool.
Yep.
Any videos going with these singles that you're thinking about? I mean, I know you're always thinking about, ideas for videos.
Yeah, ideas. Jotted down a few things, but I met up with my videographer friend Daniel Finkelstein, and he's a good videographer friend of mine. He did the Family Table music video and the Just Remember music video.
Gotcha.
And we've talked about a couple of things, but nothing set in stone yet. I haven't really been thinking a lot about actual video work, just kind of just content and just making the music that I want to right now.
Cool. Sweet. And then the last question before I get into a Nameless, do you have any concerts that are coming up that you have planned?
I have no scheduled shows as of right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Rich is free for booking, is what it sounds like to me.
Go to my gram, dude.
Well, thank you so much, Mike, for coming in. I really appreciate you kind of capping off the Pilot 2.0, as I've been calling it. As I mentioned, we're going to end things here on the song Nameless. Before that, is there anything that you want to tell the good people listening at home?
Conor's really good at this. This has been such a wonderful experience, honestly. So it's definitely cool to see him out here with his passion doing this because, man, he's got a knack for it. And thank you for listening, everybody. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Mike. That actually really means a lot to me.
I always told him he should have gone into porn, but I'm happy he chose this route instead.
It's because I had the mustache for like 2 weeks, and he's like, "Oh, dude, you should sling dick."
Not verbatim, but yeah.
It's pretty much what, yeah.
Swing dick, yeah.
But either way, thank you so much, Mike, for stopping by. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Nameless. This has been Conor's Untitled Podcast. We will see you next episode with whatever fucking comes into my apartment.
I love you more than Conor does.
Yeah, probably. Have a good night.
The consequences of a heavy heart. Wishing I didn't care so much. Wishing I didn't care at all. Just try to make some sense with the moments that I spent. Feeling twisted in my head. Think I need to build a fence to keep these thoughts out. With a couple chain links to overshadow all my self-doubt. Left my insecurities open just like a glass house. So you can't ever call me out and tell me that I'm hiding something. This is the root of it all. No, if this tree goes out, there's nothing breaking my fall. I'm embracing my flaws, cause any moment I could be gone. Been standing so tall, but I ain't really jack with no star. Look the giants in the face, a metaphor for the famous. Having jaded conversations about the money we making. Finally got the inclination that I'd rather be nameless. Shit, I swear to God I'd rather be nameless. I never thought I'd be the one to say this. I really thought I never would. But I don't ever wanna be famous, so I'd rather be nameless. Acting like you know my situation when you really know you never could. And I don't ever wanna be famous, so I'd rather be nameless. The world is changing as I write this shit. If I don't choose to think about it, then it don't exist. But that's just ignorant. Cause people losing lives on the daily, stuck inside. Was hoping maybe I was making a difference. I like to think that. Do my best not to lose all my interest in everything I love. Even though I'm socially distant, I'm never lacking my emotions like some food in the kitchen. Left out, yeah. Still I hope you're doing well. Soon enough the sun will shine and we can leave our shells. Planet in the sand with an ocean view. What I got to lose if I've been dreaming I can barely tell. Any situation, I make the best of it. Feeling like an uncle ever since all of my friends started having kids. Still haven't fully found myself, but now I'm making progress, promise you. I never thought I'd be the one to say this. I really thought I never would. But I don't ever wanna be famous, so I'd rather be nameless. Acting like you know my situation when you really know you never could. And I don't ever wanna be famous, so I'd rather be nameless. I'd rather be nameless.
Thank you for listening to Conor's Untitled Podcast. Any music, names, or likenesses used in this episode were strictly used for entertainment purposes and not for financial gain. I don't even have any ads or sponsors. You think I know what I'm doing? I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. Oh, music's over. I guess it's time.